Hello and welcome to the ninth edition of the Totally Tranmere Podcast. I am Matthew Jones from www.total-tranmere.co.uk, and as always we have with us our co-host Paul Harper. Hello Paul.
Hi Matthew, how are you?
I'm okay, I think, after the news that Ian Thomas Moore's gone today. How about yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. These things happen in football. You kind of get used to it as you get older, so we'll have a duck's back if you like.
It's obviously been something that's been simmering away for a while now. It's actually gone through a big disappointing loss for Tranmere, you have to say.
Yeah, of course. Good players don't come along. Really good players don't come along too often, and Ian Moore was a really good player for us. But good players move on. Okay, he's you might say he's made a backward move, but at 33, wanted the security of a longer deal, which Tranmere, for whatever reason, weren't going to offer or didn't offer him soon enough, shall we say.
Well, you have to question the club, don't you? Because someone from Ian Thomas Moore, his value to the club is incredible. His goals last year, he scored 15 times. I think he scored in 13 different games. We didn't lose a single game in which he scored. He was club captain last season and he did a fantastic job, and this year all he wanted was the security of a new deal. Club weren't prepared to offer it to him, and as such we've had a Thomas Moore who has been disgruntled, he's been unsettled, he at times has not had his head on the game. We've still managed to get 9 goals out of him, which is great, but if he'd been on his game this season, if we'd just offered him that extra year or the 2 years that he wanted, even with the pay cut that I think he was prepared to take, then perhaps we'd have had a striker who would have got 15 goals for us already, because he is that type of player. He'll get goals. He's a goal-scoring striker, and you have to question whether the club have taken a big gamble. Is losing him, even though we've got a fee for him, is it going to be enough to perhaps get us someone in who would save us?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to look at it at both sides of the coin. Obviously, it's common knowledge that Peter Johnson doesn't really want to invest majorly into the football club anymore. He's kind of playing it year by year, and that's why you're seeing more and more contracts, ticking over. Once they expire, then you kind of, I think a lot of players have been offered lower money than what they've been on for another 12 months. So obviously he wasn't prepared to offer Ian, another 18 months, 2 years, or whatever it was he wanted last summer. Ian can obviously get that out of Rotherham, and obviously his dad's there as well, which obviously I'm sure helps make his decision. But that's the way it is, unfortunately. I totally agree. If I was in charge of the club, he would have been offered a 2-year deal last summer, or however long he wanted, really, and whatever money he wanted. I would have more than happily written the contract by hand myself. But the club obviously haven't done that, and we have to move on. And we've got a transfer fee for him. He's freed up a wage, which I'm sure was pretty significant in terms of Tranmere Rovers. And, we have to move on, and maybe Les can invest that money into the playing squad and hopefully get maybe 1 or 2 players that will improve us, not just attacking wise, but the whole game overall.
Obviously Andy Robinson is rumoured to be the guy coming in his place, but the problem is if Tranmere can't extend Alfred Aliou's loan when it finishes in a couple of weeks' time, and if they can't keep hold of Dale Jennings until the end of the transfer window, that's 3 strikers down, and you've lost a lot of firepower there, a lot of creativity, and it's not just going to take one person to replace that. And I know we've got players like McGurk, who I rate quite highly, even though he hasn't had a run in the side. He's only going to be really any kind of successful striker, I would think, in a 4-4-2 alongside Enoch. So we're missing, I think, a lot more than just Ian Thomas Moore's goals. His versatility, his work rate, his experience, and I think it's going to be a big blow. And I think those who think he will be easily replaced may get a bit of a shock, because I'd say that in the time that I've been watching Tranmere, he is one of the top 3 strikers we've had.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't knock Ian Moore for goals, work rate, leadership. He's been fantastic, but and I would agree. Yeah, obviously you lose a good player, you can't. They're not easily replaced, especially at a club like Tranmere with the finances as they are. But like you said, there's plenty of forwards at the club. McGurk, Morrow, Aikins. Okay, none of them are everyone's cup of tea, but I think McGurk definitely is one that we haven't seen a great deal of, who could potentially be, a really good player.
Well, the lad must have been at Aston Villa for something. I've seen him play a couple of times for the reserve before I came here, and he scored one particular goal. He took it down his chest, turned and smashed a 40-yard screamer into the top corner of a game at Camel Laird's. I mean, he's got potential. He showed that last night. He very nearly scored a winner for us. Curled a shot towards the top corner, which was unluckily saved. That was against Swindon. I think if he gets a run in the tide, he could prove to be a good player, but he's going to have to play in a 4-4-2 because I can't see him being the type of player who succeeds too greatly in a 4-3-3 because he hasn't got the pace from what I've seen, and I'm happy for him to prove me wrong, or perhaps the crossing ability of someone like Ian Thomas-More, Dale Jennings.
Yeah, I think you're right. Obviously, we've not seen a great deal of him. I've seen sort of bits and bobs. He's come on as a substitute a few times. You're right, he doesn't have a great deal of pace. He's got a lovely left foot. Without having a great deal of time watching him play, we don't really know how he's going to really fit into the team. He could be a 4-4-2. Enoch and McGurk, he could work well in the 4-3-3 on the left-hand side. But having seen so little of him, it's difficult to say. All I can say is that his technique looks pretty good. He's pretty good on the ball. Seems to know where the goal is from time to time. So, we can only cross our fingers that he could step up to the plate now that, that space has been left by Ian Moore.
Back to Andy Robinson, heavily linked with the club. Appears, from what I've heard, that he may be signing tomorrow. Would you be happy with him as a replacement for Thomas More?
I got mixed views, and I got a bit of stick on Twitter last night. Not his biggest fan, to be honest. He came in last season. He got sent off in his first game back, which didn't really help us a great deal, especially in that 3-0 defeat at Brighton, I think it was. He obviously scored a beautiful wonder goal against Millwall, which was absolutely fantastic and probably won us that game. But I don't feel he did quite enough to make him this great saviour that he was made out to be. Obviously, he's got a lot of quality, and he showed that in his spell at Swansea. Maybe not so much at Leeds, not in the latter time. But I'm sort of 50-50 on it, to be honest.
Well, I think he's a good player. He's obviously got ability. He's scored some great goals in his time. And I think he is a good player. I don't think he's a replacement for Ian Thomas More. He's more of a creative player who's not going to be a main striker like Thomas More would be. But on top of that, my main worry is how long will it take for him to get fit? Because if Tranmere are paying him, just maybe signing him till the end of the season, then you've got to worry if it's going to take him a month, 6 weeks to get fit. That's a lot of time. There's a lot of games coming up over the next few weeks. And that's a big chunk of the season where Tranmere could really do with a player who's going to come straight into the team and start firing straight away.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's had no game time at all whatsoever since he left in May, wasn't it? Really, I think he got released by the Leeds in September, October time. He's not played for them. He's obviously been without a club, so he'd come on as a free signing, which has its plus side. But like you say, he's not played a competitive game, as far as I'm aware, for 8 or 9 months. So it's a gamble, but in Les we trust. At least I trust. And if he thinks he's the man, then I'm happy to go with it.
I think it is a gamble, but I think it's one that can pay off. I think he is a talented player, and he can probably be a replacement for Alfred Ali once his loan finishes. As I say, the question is just how long it'll take him to get fit, and hopefully that won't be too long, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll crack on now, and our email topic last week, ticket prices. Obviously, mixed views on this, but a lot of people are saying that they're too much, aren't they, Paul?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like we were saying last week, prices at League One clubs are rising and rising. Meanwhile, we're in a big recession, if nobody's noticed. And it's getting expensive to follow your football team. I mean, did we mention Peterborough last week? £25 for a seat at Peterborough. I mean, surely they can't justify that amount of money.
£20 to stand as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, most clubs are obviously without the terraces now, but £20, just to stand and watch 90 minutes of football at League One level. No offence to any of our players, but it's third tier football.
Well, one point I'd make is that a lot of people I know, I've given it myself, a lot of people are given stick for being armchair fans who are just happy to watch football on the TV, but you look at that price for Peterborough, that's 20 quid, that's a month's subscription to Sky Sports at the moment. I mean, think of how many matches you could watch on Sky Sports instead of just going down to Peterborough for that match. It's a hell of a difference, isn't it?
Yeah, think of how much sexism you could get as well. If you go on the terraces, you don't get that sort of sexism. But seriously, I mean, it's getting out of hand. And like you say, armchair fans are probably getting a better deal out of it. They can watch it in the comfort of their own home. They've got all the different camera angles. They can watch game after game after game. Fans are travelling up and down the country, spending shed loads on petrol or transport costs. It's getting completely out of hand, and £25 to watch a game of League One is it's taking it far too far, in my opinion.
Should there be a cap?
I think so. I think it should be tiered as well.
I completely agree with that. Yeah.
Go through the leagues. You can charge maybe £15. I'm not sure. £13 say for League Two, £15 League One, £20 in the Championship, and then obviously, you go up to sort of £40 for the Premier League. But obviously, clubs like Arsenal are starting to charge £100 a ticket now. It's outrageous, really.
That's more than £1 a minute as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's scandalous, to be honest. When I heard about that, I was absolutely fuming. And I'm sure there's not all that many Arsenal fans who could really justify spending £100 on a ticket just to go down the Emirates on a Saturday afternoon and watch a game of football.
I've not been to many games abroad, but I went to a Sparta Prague game 18 months ago, and the standard of football very good. They had Thomas Repka and Patrick Berger in the side, 2 adults, and it cost £4 each to get in.
Yeah, fantastic, isn't
it? For a Premier League game. Which, I mean, obviously the Czech Premier League isn't as high a standard as the English Premier League, but it's definitely a higher standard than League One. And it's for an adult ticket at Tranmere, it can be £19, £21 at times. And that's 25% the value for a higher quality game. So, and they were getting big crowds. So, the problem here is the big wages. And until you cut down those wages, it's hard to see ticket prices decreasing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like you say, I've been to watch football on the continent as well. I used to live in Rome, and used to go and watch Rome all the time. And it was literally sort of €10, €15 a ticket to go and watch a top Serie A match, against AC Milan or against Lazio or against whoever. If you sort of compare